Today is 5th of May. This is a 10-year-old neem tree. We can see neem seeds on this tree. Even though the tree has seeds, the leaves of this tree are turning yellow and dying. The purpose of every living being's life is to make its next generation strong. This tree has seeds, which means it is working to make its next generation. Even in such a critical state, the tree lost its leaves, so it's a big problem. Our entire farm has a large number of neem trees. Almost all the plants are green and bearing seeds. This tree blossomed very early this year compared to other trees. It is 8 o'clock in the morning, yet we can see here that the surrounding vines are also dry. So the basic reason for this is that we had planted onion seeds in this place and were giving it water from here. These onion plants were given water from our bore well for almost 2 months. TDS of that water is around 2000 ppm. Due to this, a large amount of salt was added to the soil here. That is why the trees here have become like this. As long as these trees were receiving water, the condition of the trees here was very good compared to the rest of the field. But as soon as the water stopped, the condition of these trees deteriorated. What I always say is that giving groundwater to the land is slowly desertifying the land. When it rains, whatever water-soluble salts are present in the soil are dissolved in the water and washed out of the soil. It means that it is nature's effort to reduce salt from the soil. But when we irrigate in any way, the salinity increases. When the amount of salts in the soil increases, the electrolyte balance in the plant's body is disturbed, and thus the water requirement of the plant increases greatly. Suppose we drink 2 liters of water every day, and one day, if we eat too much spicy or sweet food, our water requirement automatically increases. Similarly, when we water the plants, the electrolyte balance in the plant's body is disturbed. The water requirement of the plant increases greatly. At the same time, what happens in the soil, whatever conditions are created by receiving rainwater and the amount of salts, that the crop does not get watered the way it should, it gets saline water. This reduces the amount of water the plant needs from the soil. What happens is, the water requirement of the plant is increased, but the water availability is low. This creates such a vicious cycle. The water requirement of the plant increases, and the efficiency of the water given by us decreases, so the water requirement of the plant increases. We have considered only plants here, but land is a part of nature like plants. I have a friend whose father was a jowar farmer. For almost 30 years, he cultivated jowar on rainwater only. When my friend started farming, one of his neighbors had dug a well, but that year the farmer did not need water. As there was water available, my friend watered his jowar that year, and the yield of jowar increased tremendously that year. Due to giving water that year, the soil structure of that land, whatever the behavior of that land changed, and the land which was yielding jowar only on rainwater for the last 50 years could not grow jowar without irrigation from next year. Nature is so sensitive. What is science? If there are laws of nature that we cannot change, just having knowledge of them, be it physics or chemistry, science is science. We cannot change anything. There is also the science of vegetation and the land. This science has been studied very little, and what has been done is only in the direction of how to exploit the land and increase the yield. But we have not thought much about the side effects of it in the long term. Nature reacts to every human action, then we do something else to correct that reaction, and again nature reacts to it. In this way, this cycle increases, and the work in agriculture increases. Even something as vital as water, apart from rain, if provided through man-made irrigation, has side effects. We have gone against nature so much that we cannot imagine farming without water. I have also realized in these 2 years that water can have so many side effects. Fukuoka wrote in his book Natural Way of Farming that when he visited America, he saw that horticultural farming with irrigation was taking place on a large scale even in regions with very low rainfall. He then wrote that giving groundwater to crops means gradually desertifying the land. I have experienced this myself. The riverside lands in our village were previously dependent on only rainwater. We started sugarcane cultivation there since the Ujjani Dam was built and water was available throughout the year. Within 30 to 40 years after we started sugarcane cultivation, almost 20% of the land there has become barren due to salinity. Therefore, human irrigation is definitely harmful. From such an example, we can see it clearly. Of course, farming without irrigation is not that easy either. We have broken the links of nature so much that if we try to do agriculture without irrigation, there will be a lot of problems. I too have had a lot of problems after turning off the water in my farm. Now this 10-year-old tree that was completely dependent on rain before gets water once and then shuts off and is completely dry. At the same time, I have some sandalwood trees we will see. I have some sandalwood plants that may have grown in June-July this past year. Some are 2 years old. These trees did not get water in any form other than rain. Rainwater is nectar. When a plant drinks the nectar and then depends on it, it is immortal. In this condition, the plant does not need any of these other resources, but what happens in this condition is that the growth rate of the plant is very slow. This is because the time span of nature is not 5 to 10 years like ours, but it is thousands of years. Here we can see that even in the month of May, this small sandalwood tree has sprouted a new bud without any kind of water available. When there's such an infinite living creature, its growth rate is very slow. Look at this sandalwood tree with lots of new buds. The age of this tree is 3 years. There is very little growth in 3 years, but this tree is very strong and stands firm under any conditions. The flexibility of this tree is very high. It does not break at all. Only its growth rate is slow. But if we do sandalwood cultivation, we expect this much growth in 6 months and we get it easily. But this is 3 years old. This is the only drawback. Again, you only want to reap the benefits from that plant over the years. As Fukuoka said, organic farming is the least invasive of humans and human domesticated animals.